it's me, Jen, your pudgy picker, here at my desk with another thrift haul. Did not find as much as I normally do, but that's okay. I have lots of things that I'm trying to get out to my store and also to get listed on eBay. Between vacation and Mr. Pudgy Picker not feeling well, he's doing better. Thank you everybody for asking. I always read the messages to him. He's like, that's nice. So he's doing better. So we had that right after vacation. And then you know how it is. You know how it is when you go on vacation and then you come home and you're just like, ah. So you, of course, laundry, cleaning the house, and then he was sick. The yard, I got a little behind on my yard, and now I have been like crazily getting stuff done. Let me turn my fan on. Crazily getting stuff done. Like, just let me give you an example, because I'm a bigger girl and I'm not a spring chicken, so for me to get as much done as I've gotten done in the last week is amazing. So yesterday was Monday. These videos are filmed a week behind, in case you didn't know. But anyway, so yesterday was Monday. I went to the thrift store, came home, I cleaned my house. My knee was hurting a little bit, but I limped through it. The reason why my knee hurt is because Sunday, the day before, I went to the zoo with my daughter and her best friend, who's like another kid of mine, Miss Marissa, and they drug me all over the zoo. We've been talking about going. I mentioned this in my last video. I'm like, yeah, let's go before it gets real hot. Oh, it was so hot. So we had a great time. I was excited to go because I always love to see the gorillas, and I especially wanted to see the new baby. I don't know if you've heard this in the news. I believe there was, I think it was Texas. I think it might have been Dallas, Texas. There was a baby gorilla born by C-section and the mother rejected it. And the mother why does it look so foggy white in here? It's like I'm in a cloud. Anyway, this gorilla rejected it for whatever reason. You know, nature's funny and fickle and weird. But the gorilla here has adopted other babies. She did once before, and he's a little boy, he's here, and he's like a little toddler. He was like aggravating her to death the entire time I was watching, but she was so patient with him while she's holding the little one. And the little one was like this big, almost like the size of a newborn baby. And then she'd have it sitting there, and then she'd get up and she'd take her arm and just like sling her on her back, and she'd hang on for dear life. So the little one's named Jamila. She's doing so good in the group of gorillas they have there. They have an outdoor space, they have an indoor space. The Cleveland Zoo is amazing, and it has changed so much since the last time I was there. I went there when they redid the elephant enclosure, made it like 3 times as big as it was, and they also have an area where they close the gates like twice a day and move them from one area all over to the other area so they can go in, clean up. They have these nets with their hay and stuff that they lower down, they stuff it, and then they put it back up, so they have to reach up in there to get the food. So just enriching the animals and just seeing them happy and thriving, and it was nice to see. So I did that. So that was all day Sunday, and then Saturday. I'm not bragging, I'm just explaining. So Saturday, I got up, I went out, I did the yard. It took me 3 hours. And I'm gonna lead with a story here. Before I get into this haul, I'm gonna put it in the title so that anybody knows that I'm gonna rant a little bit. And I'm not gonna include the video either, but that's another situation. So that's why I was out mowing. I'll go back to that. So I went out, I mowed the grass. It was like 3 hours, mowed, trimmed, cleaned up, do all my little usual cutesy wootsy things I do outside. And then when I came back in, I knew we needed to grocery shop. And I'm like, well, I'm going to the zoo, and then I gotta do this, and I gotta do that. So I made my list, and I said, I gotta go shopping. So Mr. Pudgy Picker says, you know what, I'll take you, I'll just drop you at the door. So it was kind of nice. We got to spend a little time together, but that's usually another 2-hour big chore I put on a separate day. So my knee was starting to bother me a little bit on Sunday. So yesterday it was bothering me. This morning it feels good, but I'm This is a work at my desk kind of day, photograph, that kind of thing, so I won't be aggravating it, hopefully. You never know. But all that to say, it's been really busy here. So before I get into this, you know what? Let me just, for the people who are like, blah, 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 I don't care, get to the stuff. Let me do that, and then I'll tell you about when I was out mowing my grass, because it got ugly. It's a little bit of a rant. Another side of Pudgy Picker you've never seen. Be glad. So I looked through the clothes, didn't find much. Looked through the dresses, found several. Again, I act surprised every time I find dresses, but maybe because I just wasn't looking, because I looked for a while, was like, I never find anything, just not even gonna bother. So then once in a while you do, and then once in a while you find a whole bunch. So I think I got like 4 dresses. A couple of them still have tags. This one is Ophelia Rowe, R-O-E. This is a 3X, it was $7.49, and of course this being Saver Half Price Day, it was half price. So $3.50, $3.75. So it has tags. Does it have tags? Yes. It has tags on it, right here. And it says it was 40 and then it was marked down to 16. But here's what it looks like. So the body of it is fully lined. This is not a real long dress, so I would say it's more of a petite. It's got this, I don't know, pleats. It's long sleeves. The sleeves are not lined, so it makes them a little bit cooler, a little bit stretchy there, but that is adorable. And then it's got this little keyhole in the back. So if it has a tag on it, usually what I do is I have a damp towel, clean damp towel, and I'll just throw it in the dryer for like 15 minutes just to kind of refluff. And if they have a scent, or like they were bought and then they were stored for a while, I will take the tag off, I will wash it, and then I'll put the tag back on. If that makes me dishonest, I apologize, but it was new. So anywho, that's a whole nother debate for another day. Don't hate me in the comments. Usually you get something with a tag, you just need to throw it in the dryer, get the wrinkles out, hang it up. And especially if you put something in the dryer and then you take it out and it has a teeny bit of a smell, it needs to be washed. Case closed. This is a Catherine's dress. It is a 4X. It was also $7.49. So this is what it looks like. It's floral. It's very stretchy, but it's kind of that poly it doesn't breathe real well. I mean, it's cute, but also this kind of poly is susceptible to getting snags, unfortunately. This one's in really great condition, quite long, 3/4 sleeves, nothing fancy, just basic, but it would look nice with a cute little cardigan, or you could do lots of different things to it. So there's what that looks like. So there's that one. And then this one is a Avenue. It is sleeveless, and it was $8.79. So I paid what, $4.40? So here's what it looks like. I would say this is a maxi dress. So it's a tank. It's got a little bit of this, metal, bling on there, and then it is really long. And then in the back, it has this little stretchy, can you see? So it'll kind of nip it in a little bit at the waist. So again, dresses like this, when I wore dresses more at a certain time in my life, but these are nice because you can put on a cardigan or something over it, and you don't just wear it in the summer. So there's that. Last one, I don't know. I was getting this stuff laid out on my desk last night, and I was like, I sat here and I was just so tired. I get stupid when I get tired. I know you've seen just the past couple videos. I'm like, here's the video. But I could not figure out. Sometimes when you have a dress that's fully lined and it's sewn at the shoulders and it goes in the washing machine, or you're moving it around, it gets so twisted around. I couldn't figure this thing out last night. So I sat here and figured it out this morning. So it's this dress that has a built-in like tank dress, and it's this real pretty chevron. It almost looks like that would be really cool tiling in your bathroom, doesn't it? That would be really pretty. So it's all this polyester, stretchy, And then it has this attached jacket, long sleeve, does have tags. This is a Madison Lee woman. This is $34.99 originally. And then I paid, $13.49. I paid half of that. So like 7, no, 6 something. So that's all the clothes I got. I got one other large thing. I saw this and I loved the little chunky legs on it. Now I'm trying not to buy a lot of projects because I got enough to do. But when I saw this little stool with these little chunky legs, the legs are a little bit beat up. So I'm probably going to sand those, but it's a shark. Is it the funniest looking shark you've ever seen? And it's dirty. So it's got little staples on it. So I will be able to just rip that off. How much did I pay for this anyway? It was $4.49, so that was another good reason. So yeah, it's just real basic. So I'm gonna take that off. It's just stapled on, and then I got a ton of fabric. Look at this tail on here. It's already half off. So I'm just gonna reupholster that, and it'll be adorable. That'll go out to my booth. Now I first saw these, I'm like, they're blue on the inside, but they're black on the outside. And I'm probably gonna look these up, but then I'll just probably put them in my booth. They are bookends that are little telephone booths. I kind of think these would actually be cuter if they were red. I mean, just saying, because they look like that one. But I don't know if I want to take the time and the effort to do that. So these were $4.49, so I paid $2.50. So these will go out to my booth. I don't have really books other than my my date and blind date with a book ones, but I can use these just to at least display something so people know they're for sale. I found a salt and pepper shaker. They got chicken on it, $2.99, so I paid $1.50. So the bottom is for the pepper, and the top, you think they put them right on top, but look, it's, I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was cute. And on the bottom it says Florida. So it's a vintagey kind of set. I love this little kitschy stuff. It's very cute. So there's that. I know Betsy Johnson stuff sells pretty well. I've sold earrings. I've occasionally found clothes. I've found purses. I don't know how well this one will do, but I thought it was cool. And I think somebody will like it. So it says Betsyville on it. So there's what it looks like. And then the inside is this this lining that's like a drawstring that you can even push down in there. So if you had a job where you needed something clear, you could probably just fold that down in there. I don't know if you can take it out. What is that? I didn't see that in there. Anything else in there? Oh, there's another one. Look at that. And then, of course, if you do have stuff in it, then you can just kind of drawstring it. So I thought that was cute. You know, these plastic bags are they're kind of always sort of in style to one degree or another. But I paid $6.99, so I paid $3.50 for this. So I will do some looking up on it. It needs to be wiped down a little bit, but I think it should do well. And there was 2 things of ring sizers, or bracelets. I think I already have a ring sizer, so I don't know. Did get a couple pieces of fabric. Funny enough, I found one that I found recently. These 2 were sold together. They were $3.99, so I paid $2. So there's this one with like the blue check. And then of course we have the little snowflakes on it. And then this one is little houses. Isn't that cute? And snowmen, people building snowmen. That's adorable. And then guess what I found? More Girl Scout cookie fabric. Yes, it's worth a decent amount. I know one of you commented and said, yeah, that's worth a pretty good penny. And I'm like, yeah. So these 2 pieces were sold for the $2 that I got. This one was $2.49, so I paid $1.25. And there is quite a bit on here. So let me look. And I'd say it's probably 2-3 yards. So it's a decent amount. They put the tag all the way through, so I can't really show you. But I think this is the same as the last one. So what I'll go do is I'll get, I haven't got it listed yet, so I'm just going to put it with the rest. So there's that. I found this, and I don't know why I liked it, but I thought if I kind of like it, somebody else will too. And it's this really cool, it's very light. It's almost like a plaster, I would say. It's black around the edge, and it's this frame with this real pretty gold design. This was only $2. And I do need more stuff to hang up on my walls. I either have something really big to hang up, or I have little, so I kind of need some in between. I did revamp my walls a little while ago. Wall stuff is just slower to sell. That's just the way it is. I mean, I have some good stuff hanging up, in my estimation, and it's not selling, or it hasn't sold yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. You know, it's the trinity of reselling, as I say. You have to find the right person, the right price, and the right time. When those come together, you have a sale. I bought another cup that is like two that Mr. Pudgy Picker has, and I'm probably going to put this in my booth. I originally got this, it's a nice big mug too. I got this at Bed Bath & Beyond quite a while ago. So this one is $3.49, so I paid half of that. So up here is where I am, right here, Cleveland, where the guitar is. So nice big mug. It's pretty clean inside. I'll get it all washed up. 222 5th, My Place, Ohio company. So that'll go out to my booth. Probably put a good $7-8 on it. You know, either you like a regular size mug or you like a big honkin' mug. So that's what that one is. I don't know why, but I keep finding stuff that I probably can't resell necessarily. And I kind of hang on to it, and then at the end of the year we have like a toy drive for the store, and I thought if I look these up and they're not worth much or whatever, maybe I'll just donate. So these both are Melissa and Doug. Melissa and Doug do plush, they do activity things. They're really cool. I like a lot of their stuff. So this is a sticker collection, 10 themed pages with over 500 stickers. Isn't that cool? So we have dinosaurs, construction, racing, vehicles, outer space, knights, rescue, sports, pirates, zoo animals, and gross stuff. I kid you not. It says gross stuff. Got any, it looks like boogers too. We have booger stickers. Boogers. And then this one, so this is more of a boyish one. And then this one is kind of a girlish one. This is Frost and Decorate over 100 delectable goodies with 500 stickers. So you get pages with cakes and cupcakes and ice cream, and you get to decorate them. Isn't that cute? I just thought that was so cute. They didn't have stuff like this necessarily when my kid was around. My daughter loves stick parties. We'd just get out a piece of construction paper, and I would just have a box of stickers, and she'd just sit there, and she has, I know I've talked about this before, ADHD, but had not been medicated on that as a child because we saw adverse effects on her and her personality. So we started concentrating on teaching her how to cope and how to learn in a different way than maybe other people learn in school. And she has taken a lot of that. She has a lot of strategies for studying for college and other things that she did that would work in concert with what she had. So she has really, really blossomed on something that can be very difficult, and it's still difficult at times. So all that to say, these were $4.49 each, so I paid $2.25 each. So look those up. Shipping on that should be fun since they're huge. They had another one that I decided not to get. It was a placemat, like you just tear it off and then it was a place for them to doodle, and it had like, this is where you put your plate and your drink and all that. And I said, let's see. I got a bag that had 3 of these cup cozies for different corporations. There you go. And Holly and Charlie, I wonder if y'all still together. Y'all still together? You got married in, what, January of 2018? Slife is their last name. I probably shouldn't be doxing people, but that's, you know, you see stuff and you're like, I wonder if they're still together. Good old Holly and Charlie. We thought we'd last forever. Anywho, that was $1. I got this. I have sold something very similar to this. It's a little bird's nest. It's all metal. It was only $1.50. So you put little tea lights in there, and that's adorable. I tell you, I don't buy many signs, but occasionally I find a really cute one. This one was only $2.49. I paid $1.25, and it says, "I go where I'm towed." I love that. My parents used to have a camper, and my dad loved to hook that thing up and go and just go, go, go. Never went really far. There's several places in Ohio he really liked, but I go where I'm towed. I just thought that was adorable. Somebody will love that. I have some straw and I have some eggs to put in my chicken. So this was $4.99, so I paid $2.50, and it's this. Well, it opens here, but isn't that cute? So I have kind of a little whitewashed farmhouse country shelf, and I think she will go beautifully. Like I said, I got some eggs because I used to make my own little nests to sell, and I don't know, nobody liked them as much as I did, so I've only sold one or two. I even had like a little glass with a lid on it. It was like lined in brass, and it fit one of those in it. I put a couple eggs. It was so beautiful. It took forever to sell. So, but this, I can just stick some straw in there, and yeah, an egg. Oh, there it is. It's got like a little hook there, so it'll stay closed. So I thought that was a good deal. I always like looking through the aisle that has all the metal stuff and then the wood stuff, because I find good stuff there, including this. So this has, I looked around in my desk. I couldn't find, I only had one AA, AAA battery, and this takes 3. But this was only $3. So the top is metal, and then this is wood, and it's like cut out so you can see through it, and it says "Forever in Our Hearts." So somebody might buy this for remembering someone. And it's got the little door. So hopefully the candle works. Needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but isn't that beautiful? So this is nice because I have a 2x4 at a V shape where I have some lamps on one side, and then I have wind chimes, and then there's one across the front where I have stuff like this that I can hang it up, but it's still easy to get down, and then it's high enough where I can walk underneath it. So. But I thought for $3, my goodness, that is just adorable. So I will check and make sure it works. If for some reason it doesn't, I could always return it. I mean, or I could just take it out and just put another one in there, because I have some other ones downstairs. You know, it's always the $3 things you get, and you go, oh, that'll be fine. No, it doesn't work. You got to take this out. You got to put another one in. You got to this and that. You know, it's like just a quick little stick a sticker on it, and out it goes, and then it ends up being a problem. Hopefully that will not be the case with that. So I believe that is all I got. Yes. My desk at my office this past week has just been like a thrift store, just barfed everywhere. So I've been struggling to get everything done and put away. I have a bag to go down to the basement. I have my pumpkins. I'm going to be doing a tutorial on that, my little yarn pumpkins. And so I want to get this stuff priced and then actually get some work done. And there's Tater barking. So I'm going to tell my story real quick. Now that it's 24, if you just came for the stuff, I get it. I'll try and be quick. So this past week and a half has been difficult for my daughter, and I told her I would mention it when she was ready for me to mention it on my channel. If you all remember when my daughter lived at home and she had her cat Inky, and he would be in several of my videos, and he like when I would lay stuff out on my table in the dining room, which is basically now Mr. Punchy Picker's office. That's why I don't do as much filming in there as I used to. But he had his cat tree there, and I had a little suet cake hanging out so he could look at it. He turned 10 in January, 11. He was 11 in January. And about 3 weeks ago, my daughter, when I was over visiting, she's like, feel his face. One side, there, it feels funny. It feels like there's something, like it's bigger there. So I was like, okay. So I didn't feel anything. But, you know, you and your mama, you know things. So she's like, no, there's something there. She has insurance for him, so it made it easy for her to, like, you know, when you're like, oh, I'll wait on something because I don't know if I have the money. You know, with her thinking ahead and having the insurance, that wasn't a consideration. So she got him in, and they felt around on it and said that they believed with almost 100% certainty that it was cancer. Now, since was on his face, they can't surgically do anything, and anything they give him to slow it down will make him terribly sick, and it wouldn't necessarily even slow down the growth of it. And they said once he stops eating, that there's, you know, if he's eating and he doesn't seem like he's in pain, you can continue, but as soon as he stops eating, that's not going to work. So they said, we want to see him in 4 weeks, and we want to, you know, I think they did maybe an x-ray or a scan or something. They wanted to compare it and see. She said, I believe this is an aggressive form. So he went back 4 weeks later, which was this past Wednesday, and she went in with him and came out without him. He had stopped eating a day and a half before the appointment. He was not acting like in pain, but he couldn't eat. It was like, and he was always a cat that was like super crazy about food, you know. I mean, an hour before it was time to eat, he would just be staring at you and meowing and meowing. I mean, he loved his food. So once she found out that it was very serious, she said, you know what? She had been watching his weight and trying to keep him right where he needed to be so he'd live a nice long life. And she's like, I'm just going to give him treats whenever he wants them now. And between his first appointment and his second appointment, he had gained a pound. Little fat boy. But she went in and they're like, it's noticeably bigger. And if he's not eating, you know, we could give you some things, we could do some chemotherapy, we could slow it down, maybe we could slow it down. But if he's not eating, that's a problem. So a decision was made to have him put down. And I just bawled when I found out, because I've never been a cat person. I had a cat, my parents had a cat, my older siblings had a cat when I was real little, and I barely remembered. It was a Siamese cat, and her name was Mindy, and she died having babies. Now, I was very tiny, so I don't know the whole circumstances and all that stuff, but I barely ever remember I remember eating cat food. That's how young I was. So I'm kind of chuckling through this, but it's been a lot, and I just feel so bad, because it was just her and her little man, you know, and she was, you know, had been toying with getting another cat. You know, she's been wanting to get another one as a companion, plus as kind of an overlap, knowing that he wasn't getting any younger and that kind of thing. So she has said, don't tell me about any cats you hear about. Don't tell me anybody who's given away cats. I'm gonna let my next cat find me. And I thought that was sweet. And plus, she doesn't want to rush it. And I think, I can't remember the name of the company, but there's a company that will do, like, it looks like almost like a watercolor painting of your animal, and then it's on white, or it could be on different colors, and then it just has their name in black type on the top. And I had gotten one that said Beans for my husband's birthday, for Mr. Pudgy Picker's birthday. And I decided when he first was diagnosed, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get one of those for her. So I ended up I didn't take a picture of it, sadly. She hung it up at her house already. So So I didn't know. It literally came a few days before he passed, and I got it framed. And then when she was in town to have the Mother's Day dinner with me, I said, come by the house, because I'd just gotten it framed. So she came in. She's like, well, I got to get home. I said, no, it's on the way. So I gave it to her, and she was just so happy to get it. And she sent me pictures where she hung it up. So she's doing well with it. And that whole thing leads me to my mindset of last what was it, Saturday. I was out mowing my grass, and my neighbor has 2 pit bulls. Now, I've never been around pit bulls. I am kind of afraid of pit bulls. I don't know. But even if I don't, let's say somebody has a lizard or a snake for a pet, I'm like, ew, I don't like them. But I would never mistreat it, and I would not let or not stand by while someone else hurt or neglected an animal. So this neighbor has a male and a female. The female is heavily pregnant. He is breeding them, making money off of them, which if you go to our local pound or most pounds in our area, almost all of the dogs are pit bulls. So, we're not talking about some special breed. We're not talking about some clean bloodline. We're talking about people making money on the animal, on the backs of an animal. So, okay, that's a whole nother story. If you think that's great, you don't think it's great, that's not the problem. The problem is he chains this. The male dog was chained out on Saturday. Where he was, it was hot. It was hot that day, and there's shade, and then he had a big bucket where he filled up with water. I saw him do it, so I was like, okay, well Now, the thing is, this dog would walk and then come around, and then walk out and then come around. So it's slowly twisting this heavy chain until it literally got down where it couldn't reach the shade, and then it couldn't reach the water. This dog would even walk over and back up, trying to back into the shade. Like, I can't get to the shade. I'll try and... it was painful to watch. And he's crying and, pacing and panting and panting and panting, and then crying and pacing. And my blood pressure's just ratcheting up. So I know Mr. Pudgy Picker had his cell phone number. Hey, just in case you need anything, because the guy that lives there, he lives there with another relative, and they're younger people. They're probably in their late 20s, early 30s. It's just them. So I went over and I knocked on the door, and I could hear people talking inside. I don't know if they were avoiding me or what, but I banged on the door, nothing. So I called my husband, who was in the house. I'm still outside sweating, covered head to toe in grass. And I said, if you have his number, can you please message him and tell him to check on his dog, or tell him, I'd like to talk to him outside. So he did that. And Mr. Pudgy Picker is not the kind that if I start to have an issue, he's like, gets in there. He lets me handle stuff. And so, right, wrong, or indifferent if you feel about that. So this dog literally was on a 2-foot chain for the last almost hour. That's when I was knocking on the door, and then I called my husband, and then he called, and he's like, I left a message, and no answer, whatever. So this guy finally steps out on his back porch, and I'm on my patio, which is on the other side of the fence, chain link fence. And he looks over at me, and I said, he's been hung up like this, unable to get to shade or to water for an hour. And he's been, and he goes, well, I don't know what you're talking about. He wasn't even out here an hour. I said, he's been out here longer than an hour, because I've been out here 3 hours mowing my grass. So I've seen him. I know he's out. And he's like, well, you need to mind your own business. And I said, I don't care what you do. I don't care who you do it with, whatever, herever. But I said, that dog he's in neglect right now, and you need to take care of it. And he blew up at me. Was like, you effing this and effing that. And I said, I'm old enough to be your mother. You gonna talk to me like that? I don't care, and all these neighbors, and I don't care what that neighbor thinks. I don't care what they think. I don't care what they think. I said, I don't care what you think. And I said, you don't have to care what I think. But when I see an animal that's being neglected, then I'm going to speak up. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. So, he was just losing it. This person has never mowed their grass. They've lived there over 2 years. The city comes by and just chops the hell out of it. And it looks horrible. I mean, I don't expect, you're not going to get the white glove treatment when the city comes out and just cuts it down. But he has a metal cage out there too that's not in the shade, has no cover, has no anything on it. And he's had the dog in there an hour at a time here and there. So the grass that's in it, literally his grass was like 3 feet tall. So I know people were calling the city because the city showed up. So they did a quick mow. There was a couple tires in the yard. They didn't move those. They didn't move the cage. So when the guy went out, he ended up, before this whole thing popped off, he had moved it. So now there's like a big patch, it looks like wheat growing in his yard. And I said, look, you know why the neighbors are upset? You don't take care of your yard. You don't take care of your animals. And, I take care of my stuff, and I was in my house, I was clean. And I'm thinking, do you want a medal for that? I clean, I cook, I do the yard, I run 2 businesses, and I'm old enough to be your mother. I didn't say that, but whatever. So, he was mine. He's like, I don't know why the F you're talking to me. And I said, you know what? You're right. You're right. I won't talk to you anymore about this. I'll take my concerns to the city. So before he came out, I took like a 20-second video of the condition this dog is in. And I am going to keep filming anything that goes on over there with these animals, because I fear for them. And like I said, I'm not crazy about pit bulls, and I don't trust them. I mean, that's a whole nother story. But anybody who mistreats an animal, you are the lowest form of humanity. When you don't take care of someone who can't take care of themselves, an older person, a handicap, some mentally disabled people, children and animals, they don't have a choice. And that really, really just fried me. So yeah, was I out there screaming? Was I using a few F-bombs? You're damn right I did, because I was mad. Because I tell you, and I've said this before, and I tell everybody who will listen, I would crawl on broken glass to help an animal. People, on a case-to-case basis. So all that to say that I've brought it up with the city. This person had the female dog taken away at one point because that dog last summer, like in August, was in a metal cage with no bottom, was sitting on the patio, and this dog was just standing with his feet cooking. So I called the city. I called the non-emergency police number. They came, they banged on the door. They were there, but they didn't answer, so they picked up the dog, stuck it in the car, and took it to the pound. 2 days later, they got it back. Now, explain that to me, because I have heard since then that, supposedly you're supposed to, you got to get a court order to get your animal back. I understand the situation with the pound. If they take your dog and you want it back, the chances of it being euthanized there, because nobody wants all these pit bulls that people are just, oh yeah, we'll just keep making more. So, I mean, I get it. So they might have just said, you know what, we're going to give you another chance. And because I told them, I said, health-wise, it's better to fix your animals, and making more when there are too many in the world now is irresponsible. And to make money off an animal that way is kind of despicable. And he was like, well, I make my money, you don't worry about my money. And I was like, just whatever. I don't care. So yeah, that was my adventure. So I was like 80% done with the yard. So he unhooked the dog and took it in the house. So at least, now the only thing is too, I haven't seen the dogs out. This is Tuesday morning, so I didn't see him Sunday. I was gone a lot Sunday. I didn't see them yesterday out, and I haven't seen them out today. And the chain is dropped right where he took it off of its neck. So they're probably, I know he keeps them in the garage usually, so they're probably just in there just pooping and peeing everywhere and living in their own filth. Oh, it's just disgusting. So I'm going to keep up on that. And people, oh, aren't you worried about them, doing something to you? No, not really. Most people like that are just big bullies. And they don't, when somebody stands up to them, they don't know how to take it. They just kind of like, ooh. But he kept saying, why are you even talking to me anymore? Don't talk to me. I was, okay, you're right. I apologize. I won't talk to you anymore. I'll talk to the city. So that's where I left it. And that's where I left it with him anyway. Now, nobody's going to treat a dog poorly. And all the neighbors around here are very upset about it. Almost every person in this neighborhood has at least one dog. And a couple of them, man, I tell you, those dogs they're all just treated so well. So to see that, nobody's going to say anything. So of course, when I'm going at them, I see two of my neighbors, you ever see the meme where it's somebody and they have a vacuum cleaner on their front lawn, and they're going like this, like they're, hey, when the neighbors are arguing. So I know people heard what was going on. I don't care. You know what? Maybe if one person speaks up, then other people will speak up too. That's what you hope. So I hate to leave this video on a sad note, about Inky and that situation. But, Inky had a very good life. He was found as a stray. So he had a very good life. And whatever cat she gets next will have a great life too, because she's a great cat mommy. So maybe eventually, if she finds one, I'll take some pictures. I felt closer to Inky too because he lived here with me. He lived here with me, and then she moved out, and then she came back for a little while, and then she went out again. So I spent a lot of time with him. And Mr. Pudgy Picker, he's one, he'd never hurt an animal, but he's a cat. He doesn't like cats. He hates cats. He's like, I hate cats. They're dumb. But he lived quite fine with Inky, and him and Inky had this respect where they would just kind of look at each other like, I get you. You don't like me. I'm not crazy about you, but we'll make it work. And then once in a while, Inky would come up and rub against my leg, and then he'd rub against Mr. Pudgy Picker's leg, and then he'd stop and go, oh, like, oops, wrong leg. So I'll just leave it here. We'll muddle through. We'll get there. And when I have a new grandkitty, I'll let you know. My son Connor and his wife Kara have 2 cats, but they're just like, they run and hide, so I never get to pet or play with them. But, when it lives with you, it's different. It hits different. So, but she's got a lot of good friends and support and people out there, where she lives on the other side of Cleveland that just loved Inky too. So she's in good hands with everybody, which is nice. So, good gravy, 43 minutes. This is going to take forever to upload. That's okay. For those of you who like to hear me talk, you sickos, you got a nice long one today. So I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to go take a drink, and I'm going to get this stuff priced to go out to my mall, because that's what I do. So I guess I will see you guys next time. And until then, happy picking. Bye.